Only one man can be the father. So if I married a single mother, she'd have to take my name and so would the children. I adopt them, and the kids take my last name, and no half-hearted hyphenations. So this is my response to a post regarding the hard truths of single parenthood. What I'm saying also applies to men who are single fathers and women who are single mothers. This isn't meant to be particularly biased against anyone like single mothers, but it is challenging them because they're, should also take responsibility. And just like men have the authority to propose for marriage, I think women should have the authority to who they decide to allow to be intimate with them. And the truth is women have a hard time with that unless they have men in their lives like father figures and whatnot. But let's get into this. So this post shows a lot of questions which you can look into yourself. It suggests implications like even if you're responsible for the kids, they're still going to be loyal to their quote-unquote father. And the power of language and words, right? The term father, like I don't recommend that term. I like the term male guardian, MG. But father, it's a word that if people use, then it should be somebody who's protecting and providing for them. That should be what they are doing. But what happens is the children have these confused loyalties, and they aren't willing to be disciplined by you, the stepfather. And so I'm in my comment, I'm proposing ways to actually make it work. And yes, it is very based upon a lot of variables, but if you look into this, for example, look at here. What it says is because if she's still connected with the child's fathers, then guess what? That allows them to have conversations and family-only events, and maybe they'll rekindle something because, like, phone calls, they can have maybe flirty laughter, for example. And so a lot of logic and reason here, but we all want to believe that it's possible to be a good that there's hope to recreate the structure of a family. But maybe that structure wasn't even created in the first place, or even desired by the woman. Did she really want a provider, protect your husband? Did she want to submit to a husband? Did she want to follow a husband and create the hierarchy of authority necessary for a family to function? So, for example, so I'm going to go through my breakdown briefly of all these, and so if you look at, we'll go through starting with number 1 all the way to 14. So number 1, you want to be analyzing the history of the child's father. Like, is he a safe person? Does he have good values? If not, is he blocked and potential threat? 1.1, when women allow a man to seduce her and pleasure and procreate with her, guess what? They give a man power over her, right? So number 1.2, when women are, I think they're primarily motivated by this pleasure seeking and fun because they're more emotionally oriented. And what happens is men, on the other hand, they want peace and stability. And so when you combine the two, When you have a stable husband, then the woman gets to be herself. She gets to be her fun, creative and dynamic self. And this also requires men to practice a religion or value system, and they also have to have recommended daily self-intimacy. This will give a man the post-nut clarity he needs to choose a more logic in his and peace and love in his life. And number two, does this single mother want the government, which is other people, to pay for her child? Or is she, actually wanting a new husband and father to pay, which is the legitimate way? And number three, like I mentioned as my kind of wow shocker, only one man can be the father. So if I married a single mother, she would have to take my name, and so would the children, and I would adopt them, and the kids would take my last name, and no hyphenations or anything like that. There has to be a clear chain of command. And so even if the biological father still wanted to contribute, he'd have to give me money and not give money to his ex-wife. So it's about man to man. It's not about him interacting with her at different levels. It's him wanting to appreciating and valuing that I'm there. And the thing is he could be an uncle in the kids' lives if he has the same values as me, but there cannot be two fathers, two authorities. And this is only if he has similar enough core values. If he doesn't, then he shouldn't be in the kid's life. So this is like variable stacked on top of variable. So it's going to require. Okay, so I define family as people who have the same values as me, not biological relation. So this is a lot of information if you're just hearing my philosophy for the first time, but you can pause it and take notes and work through this. Okay, so number four, the single mother would need to recognize that the necessity for a husband, and that in a perfect world, women are meant to follow a man and raise kids with the values of the man while he works. You know what I mean? Number five, I would have to have complete authority to discipline the children, and they would also have to appreciate and value my presence and provision. So even if I had a great potential with the mother, that actually isn't enough. The children would need to show gratitude for my presence, Number six, the child's father did not have the same core values as me. He wouldn't be allowed in their lives at all. Just like how somebody would treat a quote-unquote ex-boyfriend, which by the way is also a half-hearted term. A lot of people, they don't even have relationships. It's totally out of wedlock and unplanned pregnancies and just very disturbing stuff. But she nor the kids would be allowed to talk to him because he has no rights to have an authoritative presence in their lives, because that would contradict the authority that I have. And number seven, you also have to factor in that if somebody also has kids, then all the kids would have to get along. Okay, number eight, taking the husband's last name and submitting to the patriarchal structure. It doesn't mean that the mother couldn't or shouldn't earn income if it's necessary for financial difficulty. But 8.1, any group of people, whether it's a business or an adopted family, there needs to be a chain of command, like father and mother and other trusted men or female guardians like grandpas and aunts. These people need to work together in a family. 8.2. So it's like if the mother earns income, she should want to give it to her husband to manage, because the person who has power has the money. And so this requires both people to really be trusted and completely committed to each other. And yes, in theory, all the money is both of theirs to share, but the husband, if the wife really wants to be a wife, 8.3, if she should want to be in her feminine, if she doesn't want the man to be her masculine authority, then she should choose not to marry him, and she should find a man, some other man who she could respect enough to be an authority. And by the way, if she can't find that, then she shouldn't get married at all or have kids, obviously. 8.4, because women, they're emotional, they're less rational, and so what happens is when they get desperate with children, they end up making what could be seen as greedy or bad financial and life decisions, such as wanting government assistance instead of a legitimate source of provision from a husband. Number 9. So there's all these variables, prerequisites in order to actually have a successful adopted family with single mother or single father. And it's only possible, unfortunately, only in some cases. Number 10. So some people, they don't have the expertise or intellect to actually make this work. So they might need to hire someone like me to help oversee the process and provide counsel. Number 11. It's wise to be honest about whether you have the intelligence to lift a difficult mental burden like this. Think about it like lifting weights in the gym. If you can't lift the weights, or you can't lift the mental weights and figure out the problems, you can always hire somebody specialized in that area to lift the weights for you. Number 12. So women do have rights and freedoms just like men. They can make their own income and spend it on pets and vacations and luxury goods and non-family oriented lifestyles. They can do all these things, but if they want a family, right? Number 13, they're gonna need a provider husband that they respect enough to follow. 13.1. In order for a woman to prove that she wants a husband authority, she'll need to first find and follow other trustworthy sources of male authority, like father figures, and whether or not they're biological, like uncles, like pastors. But 13.2, finding a legitimate, trustworthy, male father figure, it can be really difficult, because many men, all they do is predate upon women's bodies, and they want their bodies, and many men don't want to protect them. So this whole 13.3, women eagerly celebrating, oh, I'm an independent person, woman, they should realize that it's dangerous, and it's not ideal, and it doesn't allow them to enjoy being in their feminine. Now 14. The problem with women and some men as well is that they do things for the sake of tradition and to fit in, and they're more like emotionally motivated. So for example, like women like to do their nails, but it's costly and impractical to have long nails, and it doesn't allow you to be a good mom or clean or cook or like massage like your husband. Nails get in the way. And let's discuss this more. Let's debate it. But the reality is this is an issue that I'm addressing, and a lot of people aren't even willing to address it. All they do is, and maybe they can't figure it out, but let's figure it out together.